Hi everyone and welcome to our podcast Global Work, airing on June the 14th. My name is Helin and I'm here with Thomas, Louise and Maureen. Have you ever wondered what's going on in the corporates, how these organizations are structured, and how they are changing in this fast-paced world? Well, then you should definitely sit down, relax, and listen to this podcast. In order to find out more about specific companies, we visited 4 organizations individually and 1 co-working space as a team. So, as already mentioned, my name is Helin and I'm from Stuttgart, which is a city in the southwest of Germany. The company that I've visited is Deutsche Bank, which is a German multinational investment bank and financial services company with its headquarters in Frankfurt, Germany. The company is operating in more than 70 countries and has a large presence in Europe, the Americas, and Asia. It is the largest German banking institution in the world. The company is divided into 3 sectors: the private and commercial bank, the corporate and investment bank, and asset management. The person that I've interviewed is Helin, and he's working in the corporate and investment bank as an investment officer in the chief investment office in Frankfurt.
Maastricht, that's a small city in the south. So a few weeks ago, I interviewed the receptionist, the PR employee, and the CEO of Maasvlei in Maastricht. Maasvlei is a housing corporation in Limburg, and they are a pretty small-scale company and only based in Maastricht. But they are one of the main players in housing. So, Thomas.
Hi, my name is Thomas Gerber and I'm 21 years old and I'm from the Netherlands. A few weeks ago, I interviewed Mark Heckelman, who is the managing director at Contact Care. Contact Care is a company that takes upon them the customer service of different kinds of companies. They are a growing organization that have proved to be a prominent player in the customer service area. 2 years ago, half of the office was empty, and over these 2 years, they've been able to throw it around, and now they already have expansion plans.
Hello, my name is Louise Vijfhuizen. I am 21 years old. I was born in the Netherlands and raised up in Texas, Scotland, and lastly 9 years in Dubai due to my father's profession. This has allowed me to gain a lot of experience in communicating with people from various cultures and acknowledge the importance of communication. Last week, I visited the organization Heineken Express, which is located in Amsterdam. I first want to give you some important facts about Heineken Express. It is one of Amsterdam's most authentic and famous attractions. It owns around 165 barrels in more than 70 countries. It includes an interactive self-guided walk through the factory, Heineken tasting session, fun information about the company, and the logo. I interviewed Wendell Jansen, who has been working at Heineken for 22 years now and whose current position is the account manager. During my interview with Wendell Jansen, I learned that Heineken Express has a flatter organization structure. This was very odd because when I went and visited the organization, I personally thought they had a pyramid structure, so a traditional hierarchy. Wendell stated that within the organization, people used to be more self-leading. However, now, because of the changes in the way of working, they are more managed. This shows that today they're aiming to be more a flatarchy.
So yeah, I mentioned the same in the company I visited because the boss told me that they were a hierarchical flat organization. But still, the boss told me that it's a flat organization. But when I was walking in the workplace and talking to some of the employees, I really noticed that it's not yet a flat organization, but more or less a flatarchy because there are still people that are in charge as the boss, but they are encouraged to share their thoughts and ideas, and they are also encouraged for functional diversity within roles, and with it, creativity, because employees aren't confined to specific areas or specialization.
I find this interesting because Deutsche Bank actually does something way different. So they think of themselves as a traditional hierarchy. They have their president, their CEO at the top, and below there are like positions like the COO, the vice president, and so on. So it's pretty traditional. And the reason for this is because it's more effective for managing a large number of employees, which they do have, and also for managing highly complex processes. And Hevel was working in finance as a investment officer. But I was interested in, after visiting the company, I was interested in what do employees worldwide do have to say. So let's listen to what they have to say in a commercial from Deutsche Bank.
It's a place where you can develop the confidence to think differently and know your voice will be heard.
We cover clients from small institutions to large hedge funds and money managers. And I think really understanding different client needs, different client profiles That's a very useful skill that translates.
Diversity of background and thought and knowledge that helps me grow because I can pull from their approach.
Everyone is so willing to share their knowledge and help you learn.
We've created an inclusive culture where you can be yourself and take charge of your own future.
So, in the commercial, you cannot really hear anything about a strict hierarchy. It sounds very inclusive, people can work independently and contribute something to the business. And that's what I also took away from my interview with Helin. He told me that in terms of power distance and hierarchy, it was very flat. Officially, there's a hierarchy, but you don't feel anything of it as an employee. And the way of working is very independent, output-oriented, no checks or so ever. The only thing he told me, the only thing that counts is if you deliver your work on time, and if you need help, just communicate that, or like if you need more time, just communicate that, and you're still trusted afterwards. So full trust in employees, and he also told me that it's very informal, relaxed, and a very friendly working atmosphere. So not really what you would identify an organization with a hierarchical structure with. So, Thomas, anything interesting about contact care?
Well, in my interview with Mark, who is the managing director of Contact Care, he mentioned that they first started out with a hierarchical corporate structure, but over the years, they have changed the structure quite rapidly into a flat organization. This is because they wanted to be modern and have an open flow of information between employees, and also because they want their employees to have the idea that it's okay for them to share their ideas and visions for the company. When walking through the workplace and analyzing the workplace, I saw that there were still some leftovers from this hierarchical structure. Obviously, there's still a boss at the top, but the diversity between roles and open flow of information benefits the creativity of their employees, or so-called agents. Contact Care also values the creativity of their employees by making it possible to share their ideas and visions for the company through weekly and monthly questionnaires, and that kind of talks for the flat organization structure.
So what kind of ideas do you mean? Like, what kind of ideas can they come up with for your company?
Well, every week and every month, through an app called Slack, there are questionnaires sent. And in these questionnaires, people can express their ideas about how they think the company could improve throughout the months or years.
Oh, wow, that's impressive.
Okay, so from the explanations you just gave me about the company, I think I noticed already that we all four have a lot of different kind of companies. So could you tell me a little bit about the transition your companies are going through right now?
So, yeah, well, my company, Maasvlei, is in a transition. And they told me that they fired the old boss because he was he was aiming towards his retirement and he didn't really agree with the new vision. So they hired a new one, a young guy with a whole international view. So they also changed the interior of the company because the boss at first was on the highest level and they felt that that was more part of a hierarchical structure. And right now he's just in between his employees. And so they changed quite a bit. And they are also busy with hiring new people and hearing their thoughts and ideas about how to become more of a flat organization.
So it's really funny, actually, that you mentioned that the company you visited, they did the interior change. The company that I visited, the Contact Care, they also, over the course of 2 years, they changed their interior completely to having blinded windows and single workspaces to having one big workspace and all offices made from glass. This is all because they wanted to implement the values of transparency and having no hidden agendas.
That's actually very interesting and also leads to our next point, which is leadership. So Helin told me that at Deutsche Bank, his manager was very interested in his employees and that they improve and in their progress, not only for the company, but also for their individual future. So he was willing to help them not only to do their best work in the company, but to also kind of better their CV for their individual future career. And he also told me that his manager was extremely honest and understanding, very caring, and that he felt very supported. So as soon as he had any question, his manager was willing to take his time and really explain him what to do in great detail. And he also, moreover, he organized team days where he wanted to be criticized in order to become a better leader, and also kind of to make sure, okay, what are the strengths of each individual in the team? Where does this individual belong to? And that led to a very excellent teamwork, actually, and it harmonized so well. And Helin told me that they had fun all the time, but were still performing very, very well.
But you told us that it's more of a hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
But is there then still a barrier because he is going into depth in the personal life and helping and stuff? But is there a certain barrier since it's a hierarchy and he's still the boss, or do you not really notice it in the workflow, you think?
So the thing was what I also said earlier, that it is a traditional hierarchy, but they don't feel it in his department or in his team. He doesn't feel anything of it.
Okay.
So it's kind of, it's kind of complicated because you would not assume that this would be the way of work in a traditional hierarchy. But actually he said that it works very well, and it, of course, I feel like it was really dependent on his manager also, like who is your boss and what does he want to or what is his way of working.
Yeah.
With me, I can really relate to what you said about your manager. What Wendell said is that he really finds it important to have a personal relationship with the people he works with. He also, once a month, he also thinks it's important to do something outside of the workspace together. So this can be going to a social event or having a night out, just so this can strengthen their bond more in the workplace. I also asked him after if this causes any problems in the workplace, creating such a strong personal relationship. And my answer from that question was very positive. He says there is no problems, and he really enjoys getting to know the employees so well, and it works really well in his way of working. What I personally think is because Heineken Express is an organization that is all about entertainment and showing people a good time and informing people about the beer history, I generally think that the work has a lot of fun to it. The reason I say this is because the environment is very good and it's a great place to learn a lot about the marketing, as Wendell stated. He said as a representative, he gets a lot of experience working with global businesses in a variety of senior commercial, communication, and marketing roles.
So yeah, about the leadership at Maasvlei, when I was interviewing the boss, he mentioned how they are aiming for a flat organization, but he does feel the responsibility to keep the organization on track and how he wants to stay in demand of firing and hiring. He does describe his leadership that he is open for everyone at any level to offer ideas and develop projects. He found a high level of transparency necessary in the organization and is also really, how do you say it? Interested in the life of all the employees and their thoughts, and he is really sharing and caring for his employees. So I do think his leadership does implement in a flat hierarchy, not yet a flat organization, because he mentioned that he still wants to be the person that is responsible for everything.
Okay, to continue the topic of leadership, in contact care, I talked with Mark, and he mentioned that one of the things he values most is freedom for his employees and that he wants them to be self-serviced. Not everyone was capable of that because of reasons such as age, education, and experience. However, during the course over the 2 years and with a lot of ups and downs, he has been successful in making this a self-managing organization. The benefit of having a working culture like this is that self-managed employees take away a lot of stress and decision-making for a managing director like Mark. The negative side of this is that sometimes the wrong decision is made because it has not been discussed with the right superior. Having self-managed employees and the flat structure also makes leadership feel more like fluid because of the open flow of information and ideas, which has resulted in a better working culture that fits perfectly for contact care.
Of course, I think these different styles of leadership do influence the motivation of the employees. And I don't know, I'm curious about the Deutsche Bank.
Yeah, I definitely think that it influences the motivation of their employees because Helin, the person that I interviewed, he just sounded so motivated and so happy in his team. And when he talked about his leader, it was like kind of he was just so impressed, seemed to be so impressed and really liked his leader. And he really wanted to do his best because he felt appreciated, valued by the person who's managing him. So I think it plays a very, very important role in employee motivation. I don't know how it was with Heineken or Contact Care. Do you guys?
Well, one of my interview questions were, what motivates and drives you to get up and go to work in the morning? And I found his answer very interesting because he just says, every day is a new day, every day is a special day. He says that he really is motivated to go to work, and he finds it absolutely one of the funnest things to do.
But he's a leader himself, right? Did he tell anything about his own leading style?
What he said about his own leading style, he's very comfortable with his colleagues, and he still has a standard. So he is comfortable with them, but he still sets goals and boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. And did he say anything about like how it influences his employees? Like,
So with the feedback session he has with his employees, it really gives him an insight on how to keep them motivated and to implement all their ideas and their vision.
So yeah, with my interviewees, I noticed that the motivation of the employees are shifted because at first, of course, they were a hierarchical structure and they really received their tasks and only worked from 9 to 5, and there was a clear line between work and private life. But now they're more encouraged to brainstorm with colleagues and come up with ideas and solutions. So this kind of makes them feel more part of a team. That's also what Jacob stated, that the company tends to develop cliques where groups of people tend to support and work with each other, but oftentimes prefer to stay to themselves. This, of course, can cause challenges for communication and collaboration. So this provided me with the insight that the employee motivation, leadership, and corporate culture are all intertwined and affect each other. To change the culture in an organization, the motivation and leadership has to adapt to the new direction the workplace goes. Which leads to our next point, that's organizational culture. So organizational culture is defined as the underlying beliefs, assumptions, and values and ways of interacting that contribute to the unique social and psychological environment of an organization. So I would describe the organizational culture of Maasvallei as diverse. I mean, it's not diverse as based on the backgrounds of people, because most of them are all Dutch, but it is diverse as in there are people working there who are just graduated, so they're pretty young, but there are also older, elderly people working there, and they are really open to everyone with different sexualities and beliefs and values. So I do think they are really diverse, and that helps them with aiming for a more flatter organization, I guess.
I actually have a different experience with Deutsche Bank. When I was there, they really said that it's really important to have a workforce that is a mix of people from all over the world. You can also even see that when I went to Frankfurt, I could feel that those people are not from Germany. They would all speak in English, like a lot of them, and it was a super international atmosphere. And you can feel that all over Frankfurt because it's the bank center. And I think for the bank industry, it's really important to have people from all over the world because you need a certain skill set. That's what, that's also what my interview told me, that it's super important.
But I guess that also helps because the Deutsche Bank has several different countries they're placed in, right?
Exactly.
So the international occupation, if you call it like that, the international occupation of the company, I guess it's a pro because they are international, so it's better to have international employees instead of only German employees in a German city and vice versa, right?
Exactly. So it builds you have a connection in your company, and directly build another connection to the same company in a different country.
Yeah.
And that's also what Hevel told me. He said that networking runs across the entire company and is one of the most important things in the bank industry. And that is like very common that you go have a drink with your team after work or go have lunch with a manager from another department even. So it's really important to network with other people also from different departments. Yeah, so big part of the company business culture of Deutsche Bank.
As for Heineken, the account manager Wendell stated that Heineken is a very diverse organization worldwide here in the Netherlands. He says he feels that there can be definitely some more improvement as in bringing people in with different cultural backgrounds. He also mentions that the organization is more aware of gender equality in the workplace. Therefore, they want to bring more empowering women on the top and also inside. So he says that right now that's something really that they're trying to work on. So when it comes to hiring people, they really look at people from different countries and different backgrounds, so not only Dutch, and they also want to bring more women into the workplace because they feel they have a lot of men
In the workplace?
yeah they have a lot. It's a lot of male energy, can I say that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Because it's also a beer company.
Yeah,
so
that's why. If I hear beer and a company, like a beer company, I would actually, maybe that's wrong from my point of view, but I would connect it to a man kind of workplace too, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's nice that they want to bring in more more women.
Yeah, because the product itself doesn't mean that you cannot make any assumptions of okay which gender is better suited for the job in the end, and that's I think it's a nice thing that Deutsche Bank could learn because no matter what I asked, women were not mentioned in the whole process.
At
and
all?
It's not a lot of women in managing positions, not at all. Like not at all, but like the highest ones are all men.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a really important point.
Record as well, right?
Well, we're still recording, so yeah.
Yeah, that was an important point.
But how is it with the contact care? A lot of women or?
There are a lot of women inside the workplace, yes. Mark also told me that he really wants to focus on diversity within the workplace and that he really believed in the strength of ambassadorship. And what he meant by this is that when you focus on doing well for your staff and your clients, your business will improve automatically. And this also is a perfect example of a company located in the PwC Green World.
What exactly is the green world?
The green world is a world in which companies really try to care, which is also kind of funny because the name of my company is Contact Care. The green world is characterized by a strong social conscience, a sense of environmental responsibility, a focus on diversity and human rights, which aligns perfectly with the visions of Contact Care. They focus a lot on diversity. They are environmentally responsible because they just changed all the silverware out to recyclable. They changed it out to recyclable materials, and they focus a lot on human rights, and they recognize that the business has an impact that goes well beyond only financial impact.
So up until this point, we discussed the differences in types of organizations, the structures, leadership, and motivation. So right now, we're going to dive deeper in the requirements for working successfully in these types. So we had a few different types of organizations, and I'm wondering what it takes to be successful in the working place of Contact Care. So, Thomas?
Well, in my opinion, being part of a flat organization like Contact Care calls for certain communication skills. In a company where there is such a high level of transparency, communication is key. And having a high level of transparency also means that you need to be able to work in a team properly. So I'm wondering, how is this like for Heineken?
Yeah, with Heineken, it's very similar to yours. I agree with a lot of points you just said. For example, you need very clear communication and collaboration. You need to be very flexible. You need to be able to be also very social because you're going to be a representative there, and you have to meet a lot of people and also a lot of people from different organizations across the world. So that is very important. You need to be a team player as well because you're going to be working with a lot of teams.
Yeah, I agree about the team player part because eventually in a flat organization, everyone brainstorms, of course. So you need to be able to work in a team, but I also think in my organization at least, that employees also need to be able to take matters into their own hands and be able to work individually. So they actually need both of the skills to work in a team, but also to work individually.
Well, actually, I agree with everything you said. But what I heard out of the interview, in Deutsche Bank, it is really, really important that you also come with a certain skill set. So you have to know how to use certain programs, but also your educational history. You need to have a bachelor's degree. You do need to have at least one internship to really get a job in there. So you have to have a little work experience and also have an educational background. You cannot just be like, okay, I want to apply for this position and not have a bachelor's degree, if not a master's degree. Yeah, I don't know how it is with your companies. Like, does it matter also?
I actually don't know, but the account manager, I know that he actually didn't finish his how do you call that?
Bachelor program?
Yeah, he actually didn't finish his bachelor program. He actually he's been working there for 22 years now.
Oh, wow.
So it's quite a long time. But yeah, he was there when it all kind of started up, so he didn't really have a degree. It's just really was his characteristic and how he presented himself and who he was. He just had a really big impact in the company.
I think for the Maasvlei company, it depends on the function you want to apply for. Because, I mean, if you want to apply as for the marketing department, I do think that you need to have a certain bachelor degree. But I believe that for the service desk, if it comes to you naturally to help people and to communicate clearly, I think they will provide you with a job as long as you fit in the company, I mean. So I think it depends really on what kind of function you want to fulfill.
Okay.
Yeah, for contact care, this is the same. It depends on what kind of function you want to apply for. Like Maureen said, if you want to apply for a marketing function, it would be nice to have a bachelor degree. But if you apply for a regular function as an agent, as long as you have the right mindset to participate in this company, you will be fine and you don't really need a bachelor's degree.
As mentioned previously in the introduction, we as a group visited a co-working space named Social Impact Factory located in Utrecht. What this organization does is they facilitate workplaces to people. I personally found it very nice to see. I really liked how they really focused on sustainability and durability.
So the eco-friendly and durability, or sustainability and durability, that really shows in their interior, because there was one room and that really made an impression on me, that were all recycled KLM suits actually, and that was really impressive.
What I also thought was really nice about the Social Impact Factory is that they had a special area located on the top floor of their building in which they facilitate free working spaces for people as long as you agree to share your ideas with the person sitting next to you.
Yeah. That was
awesome.
really nice, yeah. And so the person that we did a tour with, he was an intern actually, and he oversaw the social media accounts of the company. And from what he told us, there is no leadership, of course, because they only provide people with workplaces. So it's more of a place where independent groups actually can work. But what he also said was that the companies that go and work there are usually also sustainable and also concerned about the environment.
Yeah, they match with their values and beliefs actually. So that kind of fits, but
yeah, they align with the values of
Social Impact Factory. Yeah.
So the structure of the Social Impact Factory is pretty flat. They have a team consisting of a total of 15 people, and all 15 are responsible for their own small part of the company, but they make sure that the information flow is still fluid. Whew, well, that was a lot to process. I think we all need a break. Let's listen to some music.
fun.
So, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of music. Right now, what we're going to do next is we're going to do some individual podcasts. I hope you enjoy this.
Hi, this is Maureen again, and welcome to my personal podcast. I will describe my personality and how I think that will fit into the workplace. By doing the PwC test, my professional profile was described as one out of the yellow world, and I agree. I do strive for meaning, fulfillment, and flexibility. I would love to be part of a creative ecosystem. During the classes of global work, I got the feeling that digital nomad and remote control do attract me to a certain point. I do like to be flexible and work from different places without the need to be at a workplace. But I do want to have a place that I can call work and have a deeper connection with my coworkers. And to get to know them, of course. I have the feeling that as a digital nomad or remote controller, that is a bit more difficult, and I do really need the social contact. The test to see if my personality would fit the remote control world showed that I'm more a working in the office personality, and this confirmed my previous thoughts. The company visit and the co-working space also provided me with my preference. That is that I have my preference for a flatarchy and not a hierarchical or a flat organization. I did really like the currency of the co-working space. That was that you needed to exchange the ideas with other people that worked there. One of my strengths is that I'm a good team player, but I'm also able to work individually. I think that fits the flatter organizational structures. I would call my listen and brainstorm skills also a strength. These give me the opportunity to come to great ideas together with a team and to get the most of it. I think that shows that a hierarchical structure does not have my preference at all, since I believe that brainstorming certain ideas is an important thing to do, and I don't feel that that was fully accepted by my manager in my previous workplace, because that was a hierarchy. I do want to have diversity in the workplace because I believe this results in better and deeper understanding of different target audiences and could result in great ideas for a company. Because I believe that people with different ethnicities or backgrounds could come together with great ideas. Still, I don't know yet if I want to work abroad, but I do know I want to work in an international workplace. I don't mind to travel, but I do not see me living abroad for an undetermined time yet. Maybe in the future. I do have organizational preference, and that is a flatarchy. A flatarchy does have my preference for the work field in the future, and I do like the freedom, but I also need some structure and guidance. That is why, for example, Tony Chocolonely, they changed their whole hierarchical structure into a flat organization. Jules, that's a company that helps international students to find a place in the Netherlands, and they are also a flat organization. Or MAC. MAC is a Dutch company located in Maastricht that hosts international events. I do want to approach these workplaces for my internship next year. As a matter of fact, I already did. I still haven't heard from them, but I'm sure I want to work, or at least I want to have an internship in a flatarchy. I hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast. I maybe see you next time.
This is Louise. As mentioned previously before in the introduction, I'm the one with the very international background. I was raised in Texas for 3 years, Scotland for 4 years, and lastly 9 years in Dubai due to my father's profession. This has allowed me to gain a lot of experience in communicating with people from various cultures, and I also acknowledge the importance of communication and being able to see things from different perspectives. When taking the PwC test, the results showed that I am a part of the yellow world, which represents I'm looking for flexibility, fulfillment, and meaning. I strongly agree with this. I know that I want to be a part of a creative ecosystem with a strong focus on ethics and fairness. After my analysis on Jacob Morgan's concept and visiting a couple of different organizations, I have learned about myself that I want to be a part of a flatarchy organization structure, as it's somewhere between hierarchies and flat organizations. I feel that people should be able to be innovative, creative, and put their ideas on the table freely, but I also think it is important to have someone to report to, as it causes confusion and power struggles amongst manager and employees. When interviewing Wendell Johnson from Hanneken, it was so amazing to see the way he was so positive and happy about working at the company. It was actually really hard for me to get some negative points out of him and some disadvantages. He truly loves his job, and that is exactly an example of what I aim in my future career. You need to be able to enjoy what you're doing, to be happy. When looking at my strengths,
This is my second year working in horeca at an Indian restaurant in Utrecht. Before, I lived in Dubai for 9 years, and actually you cannot work there until you're 21, so I didn't have much working experience. I did work at Dubai District Design, which was also a very great experience, but besides that, I couldn't have that much. So, working at the restaurant has really taught me about customer service. It's really helped me develop my customer service skills in the way which it has showed me how to be patient, attentiveness, and how to read customers. Public speaking is also something I'm very confident in. I'm very energetic, friendly, and enthusiastic. Communication skills are crucial, I believe, and I am very open and honest communicator. I'm not afraid to speak how I feel. Um, when com- when looking at being a team player, I really love to motivate others. And when looking at leadership, I feel each member can bring something to the table. Adaptability is also a strength of mine. Moving around so much at a young age has allowed me to work well in changing situations and environments. When now looking at the question if I would work abroad, there's no doubt that would be something for me. I already have such an international background, and it's something I'm very proud of. I like to switch things up and continuously visit new places, meet new people, and learn new things. I've also realized I love to work with diverse people with different cultural and ethical backgrounds. Co-working is also something that intrigues me, as I believe collaboration drives creativity, and I also love to work with people face to face. That's something very important to me, to have intercultural communication. So to conclude, when looking at my workplace, the companies I'm looking at to work is Mask Music, which is a global music agency which believes in the social value of music. After my minor in music marketing management, I was certain I want to do something in the music industry. I also there got the opportunity to work at Amsterdam Dance Event and the 3M Awards located in the live concert hall in Amsterdam. Another company I'm looking at, but it's a startup called Laboratum. It's a fashion company, startup brand based in the Netherlands with an Italian designer. Here, they're looking for the social media intern. So this is where I will write content, use Photoshop, and work on the social media pages, which is something I'm very interested in doing. And the third one I'm looking at is Zoom TV, a social media internship. And Zoom TV is located in Amsterdam, and it's a platform where they share news stories with a purpose all around the world. So, this is my individual part, and I hope you enjoyed listening to me.
Hi, and welcome to the individual part of the Global Work podcast for Thomas Gerber. I hope you enjoyed the group part, but now it's time for a more personal touch. I see myself as a social person. I like to interact with people throughout the day and feel that having contact with as much people as is possible throughout the day will benefit me as a person. Based on several personality tests, such as the PwC test, it became clear to me that I fit perfectly in the yellow world. I'm someone that definitely seeks out a greater meaning and relevance in what I do. If, at the end of the day, I feel that I made a difference for the company that I work for, I'm content. I strive to work for companies that are ethical and blameless, and I can honestly find myself in a saying like searching for a company with a social heart. Humanness is also one of my highest values in life. I want people to be treated and seen as equal in any way possible. This is also what I noticed when visiting the different companies throughout this course. I see myself as someone that would thrive in a flat structured organization, whilst being in a somewhat high position within that flat organization. A working culture in which people are open to each other and feels somewhat informal is a culture I could see myself develop to the fullest. This is because I am fond of honesty and having a high level of transparency within a company. I would work best in a situation where leadership is fluid. I do not want to have the feeling that I'm being pushed from above to show results, and this aligns perfectly with my thoughts on motivation. I need to have a superior that trusts me enough to set me free in the work that I do, having faith that I will come up with solutions for problems and show results by myself. This is a situation in which I would be motivated in the best way possible. Because of the things I just mentioned, I think it could be beneficial to work abroad as long as I'm given the freedom and opportunity to work in the ways I deem best for the current project. As mentioned, I would prefer working in a flat organization or a flat hierarchy. I would thrive best in an informal working culture where I have the feeling that I can be myself and also express my feelings about subjects openly, especially if I don't agree. I'm a very open-minded person that has almost no limits, so diversity within the workplace is something that I appreciate immensely. Working with people who have different backgrounds and cultures is something that we can all benefit from, and I would encourage everyone to participate in this. Globalization is happening whether we like it or not, so we might as well try and benefit from it. Within a company, you're bound to encounter things that are caused by globalization, and as mentioned earlier, having contact with people from all over the world will only benefit you as a person. And if you know how to implement this into your work, it will benefit your company and your working experience as well. Remote working and co-working spaces are not something for me. I am a people's person that thrives in social areas within a company. Working remotely or with people that I do not know that are working on different projects for different companies is something that I intend not to do later in life. If I were to pick out some companies that I would like to work for later, I can begin with the company I'm already working for right now, which is Contact Care. This company takes upon them the customer service of for other companies, so contact with customers is a daily thing. They also have international customers, are a flat hierarchy with an open flow of information, and thrive for sustainability and durability. I could definitely see myself working there later in life. A company that is completely different from this, but still sparks my interest, is an organization called Q-Dance. They organize parties where the main music that is played is all from the harder styles. This has been my passion for multiple years, and working for an organization like that would be a dream. I know that this company also strives to make a difference for their consumers since they try to organize mind-blowing parties that will be engraved in the minds of their consumers for the rest of their life. This is the end of my individual part. I hope you enjoyed it.
Hi there, it's Helin with my individual part in this podcast. In this section, I will get very personal and tell you more about my professional profile, individual strengths, organizational preferences, and preferred companies for my work placement that I will attend this August. In order to get a better understanding of my professional profile, I undertook 2 personality tests. According to the PVC report, the world that I belong to is the red one. In the red world, ideas rule and innovation outplaces regulation. Digital platforms and technology enables those with winning ideas and allow for specialists to flourish. I do agree with this categorization, as I am all about growing and being able to use my talents in my workplace. However, I do not think that this is all it takes for me to be happy. I also attach great importance to the compliance of the values of the company I work for with mine. Moreover, I used the hedgehog concept to build a better understanding of my professional profile. The things that I am deeply passionate about are photography, music, socializing, presenting, editing, and writing. The things that drive my economic engine are project planning, organizing, empathizing with others, my passion and enthusiasm, proactivity, and confidence. Therefore, the things that I thought I could be best in the world at are creating authentic content and connecting and empathizing with other people. This already leads to my next point, which is my personal strengths. Dance has always played a big role in my life, and with 16, I made it my job and started a dance group called Lady Messengers. I made my hobby my profession and was very lucky to have worked in the creative industry and do what I love. Therefore, I picked up teamwork skills and consider myself as a team player. I really enjoy working in teams and have been often told by both colleagues and peers that I am the motivator of the group during stressful situations. I think this trait makes me suitable for a flat organization where I would have the chance to work and communicate with diverse parties in the organization. Another strength is my cultural adaptability. Growing up as a child of migrants in Germany, I had to learn from my childhood on to adapt to different cultural circumstances. At home, life was influenced by Kurdish culture, while at school, German rules, norms, and values prevailed. Therefore, I developed a cultural awareness that helped me to work in intercultural and diverse groups during my studies in the Netherlands. I also think that this is a great advantage when working abroad, which, besides my curiosity about other cultures and their work mentality, is one of the reasons why I want to pursue a career outside of Germany. I truly believe that the key to growth is learning, and not only learning from textbooks. I learned my biggest lessons from people from all over the world. As an example, last winter, I decided to travel through Southeast Asia. I visited countries like Indonesia, Singapore, and Malaysia. Communicating and connecting to people made me widen my horizon and see the world through the eyes of people with a different interpretation of this world. So, my dream is to work in a company where I have the chance to travel the world and continue doing this. I would love to work in cities that are diverse and have an open mindset, but I do not really restrict myself to one place, as I believe that every place on this planet is beautiful in its own ways. My personal purpose is to use my gifts of intelligence, charisma, enthusiasm, and intercultural sensitivity to inspire people around the world to build their self esteem and step out of their comfort zone. I want to work in a field that I am passionate about and where I am able to use my strengths to deliver good work. The idea of becoming a digital nomad, therefore, is highly appealing. In terms of my organizational preferences, at first I thought that I would prefer to work in a flat organization. However, as mentioned in the group part before, my interviewee worked in a company with a traditional hierarchy, but did not feel any power distance between him and his supervisor. After listening to my interviewee, I realized that it's not really important to me if I'm able to speak to the CEO of the company. I think the most important relationships at a workplace are the ones you have with your colleagues and your direct supervisor. So, after everything that has been said, the companies that I decided to apply for are Nike in Berlin and Affinity Pet Care and Production Paradise in Barcelona. I chose Nike because it is a global company that works with passion and pays attention to diversity at the workplace and wants to innovate with their products. I picked Affinity Pet Care because their values align perfectly with mine. The company wants to ensure the well being of pets all over the world and even founded a foundation that supports dog adoption. I made my last choice out of my love for design and creative work processes. Production Paradise is a company that produces visual content for various companies around the world, and the idea of working closely with people in the creative industry and learn from them is very appealing. So that was it with my individual part. I really hope you enjoyed listening. See you next time.